Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped was released in 1998 for the PlayStation and would be the final entry of the main lineup of games in the series on the console. There would be later sequels on the likes of the PlayStation 2 and even other spin-offs up with Crash Bash and even Crash Team Racing. But out of the original 3 games released, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped is often considered as the best entry in the entire series. So much so that the game went on to sell nearly 6 million units and being classed as one of the best selling video games ever on the PlayStation during its time frame. And the game, taken on from the events of the previous 2 entries in the series, would see you play and reprise the role of Crash along with his sister, where you would end up having to go back in time through different time periods from medieval and other types of elements in order to stop Neo Cortex from once again trying to take over the world. And like the previous 2 titles, there's also elements of challenging gameplay. You've loads of different mini games, hidden stages to find. Once you acquire all of the items in a level, you will be able to unlock additional areas that you couldn't get to previously. There's loads of different mini games, and even when you play as Crash's sister, she has her own distinctive gameplay styles where you're usually racing or trying to complete different objectives, where Crash is usually the one where he's running and jumping and exploring, to a point that he's the one that usually engages with enemies a lot more. But there's a different dynamic in terms of the 2 play styles, but it's still a challenging title all the same. None of the Crash games on the PlayStation are easy, let's just put it that way. They're very, very tough, but again, they're really, really good, and it's easy to see why they're among some of the greatest series ever on the console, as it's sold in high numbers, it got great reviews. This game here is considered as one of the greatest on the PlayStation, hands down, for all those reasons, as it took everything that was really good about the first 2 games and really just perfected it here. With great level design, great use of graphics. Graphics were even tweaked and were even more visually appealing even from the previous 2 games, which were already good looking games anyway, but still, it's a lot of fun. It doesn't take away from the original concept, as it keeps a very similar play style, which I think definitely appealed to fans of the game. It stuck with the same formula and the formula that made the series really good, but it just added enough subtle tweaks just to make it just that little bit better. Like, even when I go back, my first experience with this over the years, we didn't own the game originally, but one of my brother's friends had gotten it for Christmas of that year in 1998, and he brought it over, and I remember playing through the first couple of levels, and I thought it was a lot of fun, but again, it was tricky, like with all of these games, but it was different from what you were used to, but it was still a lot of fun, I have to say. It's a really good solid title, definitely one of the best on the PlayStation, one of the best platformers on the console. I highly recommend that you play it if you haven't done so already. Even the modern remakes, definitely worth a shout, but still the original PlayStation version is just as much fun to play, as in with all the games in the series. With that being said, I would love to know your thoughts of this game if you have played it yourself, and what did you think of it overall. Are you a fan of the original series on the PlayStation, or do you prefer the modern remakes? And if so, which of the original 3 games are your favourite in the series? So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more content around more popular platformers that were also released on the PlayStation, you can check out the playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.